You, me, and other market participants are looking at this market and asking the same question. How can I make more money? Look at this. Bitcoin broke to the downside. It went up, retested that range, and got rejected. So now definitely we are looking which area is going to be the support for us. Right now it's the 38k acting as the first support. So the next one comes 36, 35 right at the bottom. Now look at the opposite side of this. Say this is another coin, Ape, which actually had this playing out. We broke higher, we came back, retested, we were bouncing. Even with that bounce, we had a bearish pattern, which happened to actually break to the upside. After we post this chart, we were like, okay, let's see if it drops. It's fine, you can buy more. And what happens? You don't break to the downside, you just went up, nuts, boom. So here your target was like 25 and you went even above that. So you got that pattern right. You break one level, you come back, retest, and then bounce and continue. So if Bitcoin is going to do that, we may most likely come towards 35. But Bitcoin is that area where institutions are in. Everyone is asking for more, right? So this is XRP. You got this double top, you broke to the downside. You did not actually get a retest yet. This was like a bear flag, barely a bear flag. Then you really dropped. Now, if you are looking at the price and asking, okay, how low can XRP go? This is my answer. Most likely, we are going to go towards 0.54. Why? You look at this, the previous double top here. You measure the top to the bottom, candle close to candle close. You get like 36% in negative. Now, you measure this to the downside and it come almost close. The wick here, the price, sellers pushing it to the downside, came somewhere close to that, 36%. So now if you're taking the same concept and moving it here, you get 0.54. That is more downside. We are at 0.6 right now. When the market is moving like that, yes, you go look at different coins, you go look at different stuff. And this is say Ether. When you're looking at Ether, you can learn a lot of stuff. Yes, short term, you have the trend line coming in, short-term trend line, and then you have the medium-term trend line. Now, at the same time, you also get to learn something from this chart, which is a bit easy for anyone who's taking a bit more time to look at this and learn, right? Why? Because the base stuff now, you, me, and others may not agree, but this is literally happening. People are doing transactions on Ether. It's crazy, it's nuts, but it's really happening. So when you look at this inside the crypto market, see, this is the all-time highs, the top here in last cycle, right? And after the drop, you're still here in this pattern where you are kind of making that falling wedge with the number of transactions for Ether. Okay, so that's Ether scan for Ether, and then you go to this node trace for AVAX, and you're again okay. The transaction numbers have been increasing from September 21. If you remember, the market actually went higher, making those highs in 2021 May, right? You had the spike, March, April, May, then you actually went nuts in price. So now you're looking at the transactions and how people are building on this. You're getting a consolidation after this going much higher. So same stuff happened here. You consolidated, you moved lower, but the price also followed to the upside. So the fundamentals are getting really strong. When I say this, understand there are countries which are going, taking this to the next level, saying, okay, we are also accepting Bitcoin as a legal tender. And they expect other countries coming on board this same year. So it's now not just one small country, the group of different countries, but this kind of gets really interesting because if you are listening to this, take time, relax, and try to understand where we are going, right? First, they need to enter to this technology, blockchain, how they use this. Once they use Bitcoin, Lightning Network, whatever network, and they understand, okay, this is how this stuff works. But again, there's a lot of different procedures. You still need to pre-fund. Okay, I'm talking about the Lightning Network. Then you're like, okay, there are other options. Okay, let me look at this. This option looks good. That's XRP. And why am I reiterating this? Because when countries are accepting this as a legal tender, it's the politicians. It's happening in the Congress, right? They agree on this stuff. And look at the money in the country. Now, you would have heard this term, right? Who controls the money supply of that country kind of controls that country itself. So when we come to this stuff and look at what is inside here, that really is interesting. At least for my eyes, that really is interesting. Right now, when everything is happening, Brad comes out and gives you this one, and that's actually huge. Now, yes, look at what's happening in the mainstream media, how things are evolving, and then you come look at the market and like, okay, the market is going down, but you literally have positive news. You literally have strong reinforcements coming to the market. So what should you do? Let's discuss that in detail. Stay with me till end. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Now look at this. This is also a science. Mainstream media right now pushing this narrative out for US customers. You can buy Bitcoin, put that in. That's great for you. We are going to offer that. Look at us. We are big and we are going to offer that to you. So what happens? These big institutions are hoarding most likely at the lower prices, and then they're going to offer that to the normal guy, right? They think this is going to be a good hold for next 2 years, 3 years. They buy this, forget this, and the market goes down because we are, kind of nearing the end of a bull market where in a year we would be done, right? And these people, if they are following the price updates, putting their research in, fine. They are going to make something great. Now, if Bitcoin is being offered first, they're going to follow up with this stuff, Ether. And I think the preparations are already on. So when you are looking at all this, you are like, okay, I got the point here, right? Big institutions are coming in and they are going to allow this stuff. So that's a move to the other side. So that's kind of, tokenized era, that kind of stuff. But when you actually come into this and look at this, Ripple has partnered with several central banks around the world. Some we've announced, some we have yet not done that. So that means they are going to announce at one point. Now we don't know, but look at Ripple as a company. If they really want to give that hype, they can literally give a lot of hints like this central bank is working with us. This central bank is working with us. They're not giving us that details, right? They are keeping it behind the closed doors. So if you really understand what is happening here, it's like, okay, print the money, because they're going to collapse this system anyway. They are moving on to a different structure, which would be hard to survive. See, whether it's sustainable energy, whether it's fossil fuels, whatever you use, you still need that energy. For what? Your financial architecture. When you have thousands of other structure, which is literally 1,000 times better and cheaper, think what governments are going to do, which central banks are going to work on. So now we come here, the demand for a core product. Take this one, it's quote. The demand for our core product, which uses XRP to facilitate these cross-border payments, the demand for that grew 8x year over year. So when you are going bearish, the market is going down, the price is going down, the psychology of the investors are getting low, they're getting emotional. Now, I'm also sinful of that, but the market is showing you that you may get better opportunities. So if you are that guy who took out some of your XRP out at 0.85 and you multiplied that money in some way else, you're going to buy back more here at this major support level. Now, why do I call that a major support level? You kind of extend this range to see how the price action has been playing. This has remained as a resistance for quite some time, and this as a resistance before that. So you now have a range of support resistance zone where the price is going towards in your measured move. So now you're like, okay, fine. So what's happening? I'm using Ether just to show what the altcoins are going to do, right? You go up, you consolidate there. You're not going back down, right? If you are looking from the bottom here and measuring that to the upside, you remain 60% to the upside. That's not bad. And this cycle, you move higher, you consolidate there, you remain 160% upside. Again, you move to the upside. Why? Your impulse direction was to the upside. Your correction was not going back down. You're staying there, you're holding there. So your impulse direction is to the upside, you move up. So the next base here, the low, is again 400% to the upside. You consolidate there. Now looking at this chart, it may feel like short duration, but if you literally go into that time taken for that entire consolidation, it's like 363 days. So that's like a year of consolidation, blah, 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 blah. But now again, you look at this entire consolidation, you're like, okay, we are consolidating. This is going down, down, down. But no, what happened? The price actually went to the upside and consolidated there again. So that's another 800%. That's big, right? So now when you look at the same here, you also get to understand like, okay, we went up, we consolidated, we are going up, we are consolidating. So the chances are you are going to get this capitulation for sure. And as you capitulate and big guys come in and buy, the price go back up. The price go above the moving average. That will signal you that the rally mode is coming back on. So if you are staying on the sidelines, you are like, okay, you should be careful about what's happening with the price and make sure you're not exiting this. Now, I'm not talking about the Ether. I'm talking about the entire altcoins. Because when you go on the altcoin market cap, you kind of get something similar. It looks similar. Because if you are looking at XRP and Ether, these are like the biggest altcoins. So the pattern is somewhat similar. You're below the moving average. You're going to the downside. So you have a short-term trend line. You have a medium-term, long-term trend line. So when you bounce from that, you get resistance, overhead resistance. That is for sure. Because last time people took profit here. But if you're managing to break that one, this stuff changes, right? Now, going back to XRP, if you delete all this short to medium term stuff and go back to a monthly chart and look what really is happening on a monthly candle basis, you are like, that doesn't actually look really good. Yes, we are above the moving average. We may go to the moving average, which is close to 0.5 right now. And you try to see like, okay, what the market is doing. You kind of get consistently going to the downside. Each time you go up, you get rejected. Each time you go back up, you get rejected, right? So now you're like, okay, let me actually see what this area comes out with. This has been a resistance before. This has been a resistance before and is acting as a support after that. Once we went above that, we're acting as a support. So this area is critical for XRP because if we manage to hold this one, that is actually a good stuff for XRP holders. Yes, we've been patient all this time. And if we can still manage to remain patient when we test this breakout level, which we broke back in 2021 April, that is going to be a decision point. Because if you're bouncing, that trend changed. You're going into wave 2. Understand this. The market remains low. The emotion of any investor most likely would be bad. The psychology is really low. No new money is actually really coming into the market. Then the smart money enters the market. They start buying this asset slowly. Now, the price as we talk is slowing down, going to the downside. But if we really focus on this recent correction here, the sellers are going down or the volume of sellers are reducing. Now that's on a daily. If you take a step back, go on a 3-day, you're still remaining in the same territory. The sellers are here, they're still in the market. So the macro goes out always with the higher time frame structure. So here your higher time frame structure, say on a weekly, is still suggesting that bears are still strong because you look at this particular candle, that's a bearish candle with a lot of length compared to the previous candles here. Now, you go look at the volume, it gives you a different story. The volume did not increase too much, but the selling pressure does. So what's happening there? In my opinion, I think sellers are entering with volume. I agree. They are pushing the price to the downside, but it's also people who are selling, not the shorters coming in, those who are taking whatever they have as profit, moving out of the market, expecting this to go lower, right? So that is also happening. But yeah, we know that the price can go lower. We had these wicks before, so these can still remain there and hold as a support because we received massive buying power here as we entered. But we need a change in this trend, and what do I mean by that is you broke below your moving average, you went back up, you retested, you failed, and you came back lower. So you need to definitely move above your 50-day moving average on a weekly chart. Now that's weekly chart. That's your short-term trend. Now, to get a macro perspective on a macro chart, you can go one by one. Say, literally, you can take this off and go to a 100-day moving average and see like, okay, the price is piercing through that, which is not a good thing to watch. And then you go to 200-day moving average and it's like 0.5 below that, right? 0.4768 to be precise, and you're like, okay, the target is like 0.54, we may still go to the downside because we get really bad numbers because the market as a whole is trending down, and if this is happening, that's a huge buying opportunity. But understand, if this is your support range which you are looking to buy in, waiting for one price to buy will be bad stuff. Because it's really hard to time the market, right? So you try to come somewhere close to the previous support resistance zone before you buy. So if you think we went up to $2, now we are coming back to 0.5, which we had before, right? 0.551 before. We had this one. So if you're managing to reach there, that's actually good stuff. Now, people will be like, okay, is that all negative? Now, if you can look at the chart like this, we do get a trend line. So if we are bouncing from 0.58, that's still holding this trend line. We are still having more buying pressure as we come to the downside. And people are, yeah, I agree. People are taking their profit whenever we bounce close to that trend line resistance. So if you plot that, if you bounce, this range of 0.78 is going to be a resistance again, unless we pierce through that level. So keep that in your mind when you're trying to trade this market, which is going to be super risky. So while you look at the chart, and if you still think like, okay, there is confusion, I need something like this, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. And this is first of a month. So you get the maximum value for your money there. Now, with the fundamentals evolving like this, and the on-chain data showing you we are not going down, we are correcting each upside. You correct lower, then go up. You correct lower, then go up. So if this is the background of any project, you look at the project as a whole, and yeah, now one of the stuff which a lot of people get wrong is you get positive news in this week, last week, and you're becoming super bullish on that. Okay, the news which is coming out now would be anticipated 2 months back or 3 months back. Things work like that. So whatever you are getting now is going to lead you to the next news. That's adoption, right? The network, it's expanding. So now people are working on what's going to come next. And this good news kind of reinforces that. So when I show you a good news for some new project, it's like it's leading to next 3 months, next 6 months. That project may get more attention. Why? Because now, the masses are always slow. So if you are able to follow the news and get this perspective, and you are preparing yourself for next 3 months, next 6 months, that kind of give you an advantage. But if you're taking this news and saying, okay, this coin, I'm buying this is going up tomorrow, sometimes that works because the market is crazy, but mostly it doesn't. You buy, you hold. If the volume is big on that asset, you may need a lot of people coming in more, or not selling and still buyers coming in. So that's something you really have to keep in mind. So guys, if you are receiving value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. That supports the channel a lot. And if you haven't done that yet. So I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.